An expense report sits open, and a small exaggeration feels harmless because the numbers are hard to verify. The truth is, every detail matters, especially when it comes to financial accuracy. Managers often overlook minor discrepancies, believing the overall picture is correct. However, such practices can set a dangerous precedent for future misreporting. Employees might start to feel that bending the rules slightly is acceptable. Over time, this can lead to significant financial discrepancies and trust issues. It is crucial to maintain integrity in all financial records and reports. Companies should foster an environment where honesty is valued and rewarded. Only through transparency can organizations ensure the accuracy and reliability of their financial data. Trust between employees and management is built on the foundation of truth and accountability. The usual theory posits that dishonesty follows calculation, with greater gains and lower risk leading to more cheating. This model, often called the simple model of rational crime, suggests that behavior should align with incentives. When people can report their own performance, many take extra value, but few take the maximum available. Changing the chance of being caught or the size of the reward does not significantly alter dishonesty as much as expected. The consistent pattern is modest cheating that keeps a person within a self-narrative of honesty. This explains why strict punishments often miss the mark, as the main driver is self-justification rather than daring theft. In one setting, people could shred their work and simply announce a score, making misreporting easy. Even then, most added only a small amount, suggesting an internal limit rather than a profit-maximizing plan. The key insight is that morality often exists in grey zones, where people balance benefit and identity. Once you recognize this balance, you can design choices that reduce ambiguity and make honesty easier to maintain. Fudge factor theory explains how individuals can bend rules while still feeling morally intact through a process of rationalization. A small lie is reinterpreted as fair, harmless, or deserved as the mind works to justify the action. Two motivations collide: the desire to gain from cheating and the wish to see oneself as honourable. When situations have fuzzy boundaries, the mind uses this ambiguity to place actions on the safe side. This is why people often cheat more in ambiguous reporting, creative interpretation, or mixed personal and work categories. A classic area is deductions, where the question is not only what is legal, but what feels justifiable. Another area is reimbursement, where rounding travel time and incidental costs can feel like a harmless convenience. These justifications protect self-respect, but also open the door to repeated small departures from the truth. To shrink the fudge factor, make definitions concrete, remove vague categories, and decide your personal line in advance. When faced with a grey decision, ask what you would write down if your reasoning had to be explained clearly. Distance from money changes behaviour because tokens, points, or digital credit seem less like real money, altering our actions. When value is one step removed, the same act can seem like a game, not an ethical choice. In a simple setup, people could take soda from a shared fridge, but avoided taking cash sitting beside it. In a controlled test, participants earned plastic tokens first, then exchanged them for cash a few steps away. Those who lied for tokens cheated about twice as much as those who lied directly for dollars. The key mechanism is moral distance, where the immediate object does not signal money in the same way. As payments become more abstract, people may find it easier to bend rules because the harm feels less visible. Organizations can reduce this by making amounts salient, linking actions to consequences, and limiting grey exchanges. Personally, try turning points and perks into plain currency, and pause before claiming value that you did not earn. If this helps you notice how cashless systems blur ethics, subscribe to get more simple experiments and safeguards. Moral reminders work by bringing standards to mind just before temptation arises. A reminder can be religious, social, or personal, but its core effect is shifting attention to honesty. When students signed an honour pledge before a task, cheating dropped to 0 in some settings. Without the signature prompt, the same people cheated, showing the reminder effect is temporary, but real. A key refinement is asking for a signature at the start of a form, not at the end. In a tax-style experiment, signing first reduced over-reporting from about 4 extra items to about 1. Moving the signature changes its meaning, from after-the-fact verification to a promise to be truthful. This suggests organizations can add small prompts such as pledges or brief ethics questions, at decision points. For personal use, write one sentence about your values and place it where you submit claims or reports. Then, the honest choice becomes the default because your attention is anchored before any justification begins. Context can shift honesty by altering what a person believes their actions say about who they are. When someone feels illegitimate, it becomes easier to act illegitimately as the self-story already feels compromised. In one experiment, participants who thought they wore counterfeit sunglasses were more likely to cheat on a later task. The mechanism is not about fashion, but about identity, since feeling fake can loosen the pressure to behave authentically. Dishonesty also spreads socially when people observe cheating nearby and treat it as normal behaviour. The concern is not one villain, but small exposures that gradually lower standards over time. Creativity can add fuel because a flexible mind can generate more excuses when the situation feels ambiguous. These forces explain why workplaces with visible corner cutting can slide into widespread misreporting without open conspiracy. The practical response is to shape norms, reward truth-telling, and remove cues that invite people to feel fraudulent. When identity and norms support honesty, the small lie becomes harder to justify and easier to stop early. Everyday dishonesty is rarely a grand scheme, but a series of small choices made in convenient moments. The core driver is the balance between wanting benefits and wanting to see yourself as a good person. When rules are vague, categories are flexible, and outcomes are hard to trace, fudge factor thinking grows. Moral reminders can shrink that space, especially when they appear before reporting, signing, or declaring information. Distance from cash increases risk because tokens and digital steps reduce the emotional signal that something real is taken. Identity cues and social norms also matter since feeling fake or watching cheating nearby can normalize bending rules. Start with one lever today, such as defining your own line, adding a signature prompt, or making claims more concrete. Next, reduce grey areas by clarifying categories, separating personal and business claims, and writing the rule you will follow. Over time, these small design choices protect trust, reduce self-deception, and make integrity feel like the easier option. If you want more science-driven ways to stay honest in daily decisions, subscribe to keep building that habit.